In Nova Scotia, the three that were very late term, one had left a very extremely abusive situation. One was a rape, and just too traumatic for her. She realized late in her pregnancy, and not in three would be done at the hospital. The hospital would refuse to do them.
So there's a kind of a limit here.
And they didn't say, but you can go to Hamilton.
No, they're not going to say that.
So
no.
What happened to those women?
They had to give birth.
Yeah.
And what happened to them?
Did you follow up with them or anything?
Oh yeah, they ended up, I think they gave, I'm trying to think, this is a little while back now. I think all three of them put their children up for adoption. Because at that time it was the only other option.
Yeah, but what a good option, eh?
It is a good option for those who choose that.
And
right?
they didn't suffer the trauma of being in the
See, there's an example that's counterintuitive. Like, why was that so horrible? They gave birth, and they gave their child up for adoption.
Well, because if you went through, for instance, an extreme sexual assault, that it was incredibly, painful physically, emotionally distressing, very violent, and you have this baby in your body that is a result of that. It's a reminder every day. You can't escape it. And for women, it's traumatizing them every day. Mm-hmm. Very traumatizing every day to wake up and feel pregnant. And most women hate the baby because it wasn't conceived out of love, it wasn't conceived out of anything other than a violent act. And so for them, it's just an awful reminder, and they often can't deal with it. Some women have and done a beautiful job, but there's some women who mentally just can't manage it.
Well, yeah, and there could be. You definitely have to support the woman. You don't just abandon her to her pregnancy.
We support that's why I'm saying we support choices. We support their choices. We try to educate. We try to give options. We try to talk about, have you looked at, adoption and whatever, all those options. But at the end of the day, the choice has to be about the woman. The woman has to make the choice.
But what about the other person involved?
You mean the rapist or the baby?
Well, what happens to the rapist?
Usually nothing, because he's never caught.
But even if he is caught, what happens to the rapist?
Well, in Nova Scotia, he has no rights as a parent.
No, but I mean, what sort of consequences are there for the rapist?
If he gets convicted, if he gets caught, then he'll get convicted and go to jail.
And what will happen to him there?
Nothing.
So
he sits and waits to get out again.
Okay, so he's the rapist. He's the only criminal in this situation. Mm-hmm. And the mother is traumatized. And who's the other person?
The child, the baby.
And we're saying that we have a male rapist, who could be a very nasty individual, if he's caught, and half the time they're not even reported.
That's what I mean. Well, not reported, or you report it, or a lot of women, they won't report because the court system doesn't support. You get re-victimized.
Exactly.
You were the tramp. Oh, you must have wanted it. You had a short dress on. You went and had a drink at a bar. So therefore, you're culpable in all of it, right?
Exactly. So the mother suffers tremendously. The rapist, I'm sure he does suffer. I mean, he's any kind of a person. But who suffers the most?
Like I said, I'm not against your
What's the
message.
third person that suffers the max?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Yeah, it's the child.
And what happens to that child?
The child dies if he goes through the abortion.
And how does it die?
Yeah.
Do we give them the lethal injection?